go on this call, and we will talk to, I'm not sure, but they have a '09 Acadia. Welcome to the C&C Auto Show. What can we help you with?
How y'all doing? Got the 2009 Acadia, and I just put the new struts on it a couple of weeks ago, and the stable track and traction control warning light comes on. It's not, instead of it comes on and stays on once it comes on, but it's after it sits overnight for a couple of hours. It's not on. Then the light comes back on again. It says service, traction control, and stable track. What did I do wrong?
Okay. Now, the first you would want to start out and let's find out what code is stored, because you may have one of those struts that are sending a faulty reading, and it could have a bad sensor inside one of the struts that you purchased. And I'm assuming that you did purchase struts with the sensors built in for that SensuTrack system. Is that right?
That's a good question.
Yeah.
I ordered them online.
Yeah.
Vehicle.
Did you get an extra good price on them? The reason I say that, no, you can order those struts with or without the SensuTrack deal, and there's always a chance you might have ordered some and they did not have that system built on. But you whoever put them on probably would have noticed that, because there would have been a wire that would have hooked to that strut. And they would have noticed that a wire come off of the old one, but there wasn't a place to plug it into the new one. So I would first find out if you have the struts that have the SensuTrack system built in. And then if you do and they are hooked up well, first I do a visual check on them. If they are hooked up well, then the next step I would have the trouble codes checked to find out if it's one faulty or if they're just the wrong part number and all of them's faulty.
Okay, now I was the whoever installed them, and so they did not have a wire. The old ones did not have any kind of wire going to them, and the new ones do not have a wire going to them.
Okay. Now, if with that system on there for, let me say, a '09 Acadia, and it's got SensuTrack, I could have swore that model had a wire running to it. Jared, you know anything on that one?
I don't know. I know that the GMs have so many different ride.
Yeah,
options.
there's tons of them.
Tons of them, especially when it comes to parts. And he could have very well got something and it's adjusted the ride height. It might be a different option, and caused these the lights to go off. Also, putting them on, you could have damaged ABS sensor or any other type of sensor in the process and not known it. A broken wire, things like that.
Yeah, you're going to need to start out with having the codes tested and find out what trouble code is causing that light to come on. Because, of course, I'm assuming because you had just done the struts that it would be something to do with the suspension system. But just like Jared mentioned, it could have been something to do with an ABS light. I always, on things like that, before you spend money on diagnostics, because I know that's a lot of money. I don't take that lightly when I say, hey, go spend $150 on diagnostics. I realize it's a lot. But the thing is, you don't want to put parts on a car that it may not need. And with that, before you do the diagnostics, ask the person that put them on, say, would you mind just jacking the car up and doing an extra good visual inspection to make sure no other wires may have got jerked loose or messed up or anything like that. And then if there's not any wires messed up and everything looks like it's mounted correctly, then I would recommend having some diagnostic test run to find out what trouble code is stored in there, and that will lead you to the problem.
Right, and I assume that the simple code readers that Advanced Auto and AutoZone have, they won't really nail it down to which strut or...
No, unfortunately, those are code readers, and a lot of people get them mixed up. A code reader is something you can actually buy one for under $100, well under $100 many times, and read a code. And I look at that as kind of like telling you what state something's in. You say, well, it's in Illinois. But to go to different problems like this, you need something that goes much deeper than that, and that's actually a much more intense scan tool that goes in and actually reads the system. And actually, they're bidirectional. They can also activate different things inside the computer to see what reading comes out, so it'll know if certain things are working. So no, a regular code reader, unless I take that back. Some code readers might. So I don't want to tell you no. I tell you what, if you was to go by one of those, we do code checks free too. I mean, but if you go somewhere, it don't hurt to ask them to hook it up. I mean, the most they can say is, no, it won't read that system. But the majority of them will not. I'll tell you that.
Right, that's what I thought too. As I said, I'm the whoever installed them, and so what I guess I need to do first is go ahead and jack it back up and take the tires off. I've got an impact wrench,
Yep.
and take the tires off and do a visual inspection myself.
Exactly. I
And,
hate to say this, but it's kind of like an old saying from way out in the country. You might have to lick that calf over. No, I'm just cutting up with you. All right.
So I've heard that one too, by the way, for
Yeah.
years.
Hey, I really appreciate your
well,
call.